In this video, we're going to have a look at IT certifications that I would recommend if you want to be a data analyst. Hello, I'm Philip Burton of idodata.com. So the task of the data analyst is really in 5 sections. First of all, you need to prepare the data. Your data might not be in the right format. It might have incorrect data. It might not be complete. You need to have the right data to be able to prepare the right analysis. So data preparation is not just, oh, I've got a spreadsheet, I'm now going to use it. It is, okay, is this data complete? Does it give me the information that I need to create my job? Is there more data that I can use with this data that would create a better analysis? So you might be talking to other people within your organization or outside of your organization to try and get additional data, or at least verify the data that you've got. Then model the data. So we may have 7 different sources of data. They need to be related in some way. Otherwise, they're just 7 different pieces of analysis. Can we combine them so that we can drill through perhaps into another part of the analysis? So first of all, you can load your data, and then how do they combine? Then we visualize the data. For data analysts, this is the most visual part of the data analyst job. However, the other parts are equally important. Here, you're now saying, this is my analysis, have a look at it. You may be creating dashboards, you may be drilling down into other reports, you may be applying filters, you may be applying slicers, you may be using artificial intelligence so that you can explain to people, okay, this is where we are, but this is why. So it's not just the what, it's the why that's important. And that is the analyze section. So in addition to why, it's also and now what? So what conclusions can we reach going forward? How can we improve your business? Not just in this is the business now, but where should the business be in a year, 2 years, or even 6 months? And what is the actionable result of your analysis? And then finally, there's the manage. If you're creating lots of dashboards, reports, workspaces, data sets, apps, you need to be able to manage it. You need to be able to distribute it to the correct audience, but only insofar as what they need. So if you don't need them to be able to create reports based on your report, then you mustn't give them that. If some of the analysis is sensitive, then you need to only give them the bits that they should have access to. So that, in 3 minutes, is the task of the data analyst. So what can you do to further yourself, to improve your data analysis skills? Well, we're going to have a look at some IT certifications that you may wish to have, not just for the certifications themselves, but for the learning that goes behind them. Because while the certification can help establish your credibility, which can lead to a new job or maybe a promotion in your existing job, the actual learning behind it can improve your skill set. So we're going to start with the PL300 exam from Microsoft. So this is the Power BI Data Analyst. So what is Power BI? Power BI is a package. It includes a desktop program and also a Power BI service, which is on the cloud, that allows you to load data. So this is the prepare section. You can then transform it, if you so wish, in the Power Query editor, also known as Get and Transform. You can then load it into your Power BI desktop. If you have got multiple queries, then you can model them. You can have the links running from one to another, the relationships. You can then create your visualizations. So they can be very simple visualizations. It's basically, what story are you trying to tell the end user? So maybe I'm just trying to say, okay, this is the number of houses that were sold in these particular regions. But then you might want to go, okay, what is it over time? Has that changed over time? And you can see a bar chart isn't necessarily the right way to do this for everybody. So maybe we will have this in small multiples, and then we'll have the year in the x-axis. So now we can see this is Greater Manchester, this is Merseyside, South Yorkshire, and so on. Or maybe we want to have a look at the average price. So let's put that in. So now we've got two metrics against each other. So this is when you might think, okay, let's change the visualizations, maybe to a scatter graph. So we could look at the average price against the sales volume. But at each time you are thinking, okay, what is it that I'm trying to explain to the end user? Because you don't just want to have a visualization and go, there's your answer, without actually having an explanation behind it. So maybe I can put a footer on for the year, for instance, and say, okay, this is how it was in 1995, for instance, and we have got Greater Manchester here with more sales and still a lower price than, for instance, West Yorkshire. And then we can publish it onto the Power BI service so that others within your organization can get access to it. The PL300 goes through the 5 stages that we were looking at: prepare, model, visualize, analyze, and maintain. And if you want more information about the specifics, then you can click on the study guide and have a look at all of the requirements. Now, I should point out that the PL300 is a fairly expert certification. Indeed, my course on it is around 28 hours. But part of that is because there are 2 languages that are useful to learn, M and DAX. So in my course, again, I've broken it down into these 5 elements: visualizing, analyzing, preparing, modeling, and maintaining or managing. So the PL300 is the first of the certifications that you may wish to consider, but as I say, it is a fairly meaty one. If you want something that's a bit shorter, then have a look at the DP900 Microsoft Azure Data Fundamentals. So your data needs to be somewhere. Now, the cloud is increasingly a more popular place for storing your data. So in the PL900 exam, you have a look at some of the databases and related products that are available on Microsoft Azure. So if we have a look at the skills which are measured, they are fairly nondescript. Describe core data concepts, identify considerations for relational data and non-relational data, and analytics workload. It's only when you get into the study guide that you see more of what they're talking about. So for example, identify considerations for relational data. We're talking about Azure SQL data, Azure SQL Managed Instance, and SQL Server on Azure Virtual Machines. Together with open source database systems such as Azure Database for PostgreSQL, MySQL, and MariaDB. So if I go to the portal in Azure, you can see that we can just create SQL products fairly easy. So you can see we've got SQL databases, elastic pools, virtual machines, as well as the open source servers as well. The second category of products on Azure are non-relational data. So we're talking about Azure Cosmos DB, for instance, which is a semi-structured or no SQL database. You'll also have a look at Azure Storage, so you can store files on the web or tables. And then finally, you'll be looking at the principles behind large-scale analytics, such as Synapse Analytics and HD Insight. Now, this is at a fairly high level. The requirements for the DP900 can be done in just a few hours. So my course on this, for instance, lasts 7.5 hours. But in this, we look at all of the aspects of the DP900. Now, you can then choose after this foundational exam to go in deeper. For example, the DP300 is all about Azure database skills. However, for you as a data analyst, it is good to have a broad brush of data analytical skills and then go deeper into certain things such as Power BI. So this will give you a high level. Now, another certification that you might be interested in is the IT Specialist certification from Certiport. Now, it used to be that Microsoft had a series of similar certifications, but they were withdrawn in June 2021 and June 2022. Instead, Certiport have taken over the mantle of having all of these certifications. The databases certification allows you to show your knowledge in databases. So for example, you'll be designing tables for storage. You'll be identifying appropriate primary keys. You'll be constructing and analyzing queries that create, alter and drop tables and views. And you'll be retrieving data with a select statement and a host of clauses and other keywords such as joins, sorting and filtering, and aggregating data. Now, this is at a similar sort of level as the DP900. It's more of a foundational level, except with the DP900, you are looking at the concepts. Here, you're looking at how to actually create your select queries. So again, the amount of time you need for this particular certification is not that high. So my course is 9 hours long, and we go through all of the requirements of the ITS 201. So these are 3 IT certifications that I think you should investigate if you wish to become or go deeper into being a data analyst. The ITS 201 from Certiport, the DP900 from Microsoft, and the PL300 all about Power BI from Microsoft. Now you may also want to have a look at other topics in a fundamental level, and this can help with you becoming a more rounded data analyst. Please click on the video you can see on the screen to find out more about these other IT certifications that you can have on topics such as Power Platform, Office, and more about Azure. I'm Philip Burton of I Do Data. Thank you for watching and keep learning.